Welcome to Luttrellstown Castle, where they're launching the Audi A3 Sportback. Now, you may think that it's just an A3 with two more rear doors. It's not. It's actually longer and a little bit wider as well around the back, which gives more legroom in the back, seemingly, and bigger boot space. You've actually got a split level boot as well. You can drop it down and make it bigger. So there's quite a bit of changes from the 3-door to the 5-door. Alright, so we're going to have a drive now, the new A3 Sportback. Just adjust my seats a little bit. Looks good. And away we go. Hi guys. Lots of guys going and coming. This is Luttrellstown Castle, by the way. It's quite nice. And I have man flu. So I'm dying here. How do I turn on that radio? Yeah, that one. Yes, I have man flu. So I'm really tired. But nonetheless, I still have to bring you the latest information on the cars. And this is, of course, the Irish launch of the Audi A3 Sportback. Now, the Audi A3 is a very, very high seller for Audi. And the thing is that it's all retail sales, so it's all pretty good. You know, it doesn't really sell into the fleet very often. So it's very important that the A3 is, you know, family orientated, and that's the most important part. Now, the 3-door is very good, handles very well, very good on the road, very flat. But the Sportback offers more than just two back doors. It's slightly longer than the 3-door, and so you get a bit more room in the back seats as well, and you get a slightly bigger boot. But the handling remains the same. Now, this one is a 2-litre diesel, 150 brake horsepower, so it's no slouch, really isn't. Tons of torque from that 2-litre diesel. There is a 1.6 105 brake horsepower, which I imagine is going to be probably the seller one. All cars are in tax band A, and if you pick a 1.6 litre diesel, no matter what spec you pick it in, it's got 99 grams of CO2. So even if you put 19-inch alloys on it, it still has 99 grams of CO2. So that's pretty good, as you can imagine. Now, I'm coming out of Luttrellstown Castle, but unfortunately this junction is bloody lethal, so you have to be a bit quick on the accelerator pedal. Ooh, traction control! XDS system, of course, and of course MQB's chassis. So it's very stuck down to the road at all times. So even when you turn into a funny corner and maybe give yourself a little bit too tight of a turn at too high a speed, just sorts it out. It's no big deal. Well planted. I love the weighted steering wheel. It's really, really good. It's nicely weighted back towards centre, so you get to feel what the tyres are doing on the road. And of course, it's lovely to be back in an Audi. They're so luxurious. They really are. They've got that luxury feeling about them. Really, really well sorted. Very impressed with that bit. They really have got that luxury feel to everything nailed down. I love that little screen. Such a tiny little thin screen. You can add sat-nav to that as well. It's not a terribly expensive option. Practicality wise, this little pop-up screen in the middle is standard. Air conditioning is standard. There's lots of standards actually. Audi reckon that there's €1,500, somewhere around that, of optional equipment that is now standard on this A3, including Bluetooth across the range. Now, Bluetooth in all of the cars, whichever spec and whatever grade you pick. There are more engines on the way, as well as a 1.2 TSI petrol that will kick off the range eventually. At the moment, they only have the 1.4. The 1.4 is one of my favourite engines, but the moment the cylinder shutdown, or cylinder on demand, I think is what they call it, that is absolutely a little gem of an engine. I have to say, it really is a very, very good engine. One of my favourites. But I do like this 2-litre diesel, 150 brake horsepower. Of course, last time I drove this was in the VW Golf, which, strangely, from the same group, is actually a very big competitor for the A3. They reckon that the crowd will separate, and I actually think at the price pointing this car is versus a Golf, they will separate. This car that I'm sitting in is, well, give or take, if the red one I had earlier on is 38 odd grand. So would you rather pay 38 odd grand for an Audi or a VW? You know, there will be a separation. There's a kind of a crossover point there. That said, I'm a big fan. I do like the A3. It is very sporty, it is very youthful, it is very planted on the road. The 150 brake horsepower engine is as sweet as a nut, it really is. You put your foot down, all this torque just comes on and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And then you change gears and you start all over again doing exactly the same thing. It's just a little gem of an engine. I would be a fan of picking that engine over the 1.6. I know a lot of you is probably going to jump at the 1.6 litre diesel, 105 brake horsepower. There is actually a 1.6 litre diesel, 90 brake horsepower going to come as well. Audi are going all out with the engine lineup of the A3. I don't blame them to some degree. Choice is always a good thing, and you can't really suit it. You know, there isn't really one big bullet that's going to suit every possible buyer out there. But Audi sure do try and get those bullets running like a machine gun, because you have a 3-door this, a 5-door this. You've ones with roof rails, one with no roof rails. What I find strange is actually the one with the roof rails. Actually, I'm in a bit of traffic. Actually looks like an Avant. When it's exactly the same size, but as soon as you put the roof rails on, it looks longer somehow, which is cool. The roof rails, I think, are standard from SE, which is the middle range. Press conference was the usual fare of how well Audi are doing, what they're going to do next, what they've been doing up to this point. Audi are doing incredibly well if sales figures are to be believed, for the amount of, I suppose, massaging of the numbers that go on around this kind of event, where they kind of, tell you a lot of numbers, but a lot of them encompass a lot of other numbers as well. I suppose that's good, and it's bad. My God, that engine is sweet, absolutely. For a diesel engine, that is just bang on. Right amount of noise, tons of torque. Everything but your foot down, it's like way off you go. Loads of torque in as well. Really, really sweet engine. Very happy with that. Haven't driven a 1.6 litre diesel. It isn't here yet, and that's probably the main reason. I'm sure it will be by the time I get around to doing a full test on that, which is a few weeks from now, on this A3. I'm sure the 1.6 litre diesel will be sorted out as well, which will be the main seller. But at the moment, they're just kind of pushing, what can this car do? We'll show you everything it's able to do. This one even has lane keeping, it can park itself. It's able to do all sorts of things. Our Irish designer designed this one. David Caffrey, is a man from Dublin, actually designed this car that I'm sitting in, and has done a spectacular job, because I actually, up to this point, had only driven the 3-door version, and I thought the 5-door version was just going to be another 2 doors in the back, but you know what? It isn't really. It isn't. It's longer. There's more room in the back. There's more space in the boot. The boot's a bit clever with sort of a split floor in it as well. Put things underneath it, or you can drop the floor down. And why did a semi on a roundabout? What the? It's supposed to be a test drive route. It's got speed bumps on it. Speed bumps. Say no more. Say no more. Anyway, from somewhere lost by a place called Rugged Lane. Anyway, I'm lost now because I have to go back to Lutterstown Castle to get the car back. I might not though. I might just keep on driving. Why not? Because it's got lots of torque and lots of fuel. Yes. But lots of bloody speed bumps. From Lutterstown Castle, I hope you will see the Audi A3 Sportback in your showroom very soon. If you're in around Naas, of course, in Kildare, you can drop